Hello, good evening. Welcome to Monday's North West Tonight with Roger Johnson. Thanks for your company this evening. Our top story. Anger from Greater Manchester residents who say a controversial warehouse development is flooding their homes.
They've spoilt the view, now look what we're having to put up with. Absolutely atrocious.
The council says it's monitoring the site. The developers said nothing. Also tonight, Paul Doyle sobs in court as his sentencing begins for driving into fans at Liverpool's trophy parade. From the jungle to the touchline, angry Ginge leads his under-18s team for the first time after winning I'm a Celebrity.
Since I got back, seeing the love and people recording their reactions and people getting emotional when I won, it was like, wow.
Pull on your positive pants. Charlotte's inspirational message for those who are struggling at Christmas.
And for most of us today, across the northwest, really poor, a lot of rain, but the Isle of Man fared well, decent here, and some good news on the cards for tomorrow. So join me at the end of the programme. I'll give you all the details.
So after a year fighting the building of a giant warehouse behind their homes, today residents at Tyldesley in Greater Manchester woke up facing another fight against flooding. The recent heavy rain has left some of their gardens and a footpath to a primary school underwater, as Stuart Pollitt reports.
Yeah, you can't pump any more water down here. Houses are already flooded.
Festive cheer in short supply among these residents.
It's flooding, it's backloading here, isn't it? Backloading here.
First, it was the impact of the building of this huge development. Now their worst flooding fears are slowly being realised. This footpath is normally used as a cut-through to a nearby primary school.
Dreadful. Yeah. They can't get to school. I've got a friend whose child goes to the school and they've had to completely go around the other way now.
Yeah. No matter about the building and that, they've spoilt the view, now look what we're having to put up with.
We first noticed on the floor in the kitchen that the floor started to drop, and then since March to now there's like a hole actually in our floor.
A few months ago we met Paula. She's convinced building work damaged the inside and outside of her home. Today, she woke up to another problem.
We've never had any flooding at all in the garden, so I woke up about 5:30 and obviously you can see it's just a big pool of water, but it's progressively getting worse and now coming up on the decking, which is causing concern.
Last week, the developers dug a trench here on the site to try and sort this problem out. But as you can see, it hasn't worked. This footpath is flooded again. And in fact, the trench itself is now full of water and is having to be pumped out.
Residents are absolutely sick of the impact that this thing is having on our homes, our livelihoods, our mental health. Tempers are starting to go now.
Local councillor James Fish is calling for an immediate halt to building work.
I wrote to the council to say, look, you need to issue an immediate stop notice. There's been requests in the past, they've been refused. Every measure that they're putting in place, it's just not holding this water.
In a statement, Wigan Council told us officers were actively monitoring the site, talking to the developer, and further assessments were taking place. Developers PLP have not responded to our request for comment.
The more we appeal, the more we ask people to do something about it.
For now, as the rain continues, these residents are hoping for a change in the weather and a change in their fortunes. Stuart Pollitt, BBC North West Tonight, Tyldesley.
A story we followed for some time and will continue to follow. Now, a former Royal Marine sobbed in court earlier at the start of his sentencing for driving into crowds at Liverpool's trophy parade in May. Paul Doyle, who was sober and had not taken drugs, injured 134 people. Dashcam footage played in court showed the 54-year-old swearing at people to get out of his way. Mairead Smith was listening at the start of the two-day hearing and joins us now. So, Mairead, just tell us more about what you heard today.
Well, the court heard the 54-year-old had completely taken hold because of his anger. He was in a rage as he drove his car along Dale Street and Water Street that day. He wept in the dock today as dashcam footage from his own car was shown multiple times in court during today's hearing. We could hear him telling people to move repeatedly. We saw his car hitting multiple people. We heard the screams of people who were there that day. Paul Doyle pleaded guilty to 31 charges relating to seriously injuring 29 people during that victory parade in May. He admitted dangerous driving, a fray, 17 charges of attempting to cause grievous bodily harm with intent, 9 counts of causing GBH with intent and 3 counts of wounding with intent last month. Prosecutors told the court today that his Ford Galaxy collided with well over 100 people in the early evening of the 26th of May. And the court heard he thought he was the most important person on Dale Street that day, and he was prepared to cause those in the crowd, even children, serious harm if necessary to achieve his aim of getting through. The court heard how a man called Daniel Barr had managed to get into Paul Doyle's car, and he actually was able to bring the car to a stop by putting the gear stick into park. He didn't know what he was getting himself into when he did that, and he was hailed a hero for what he did. A number of victim impact statements were also read to the court today, which laid bare the true impact of Paul Doyle's actions on the people who were there, those who were injured. In a statement from the mother of the youngest victim, Teddy Evison, who was 6 months at the time and whose pram we saw being shunted down the road by Paul Doyle's car, she said all we wanted was to celebrate. Instead, we were left broken. Paul Doyle's sentencing will continue here at Liverpool Crown Court tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Mairead. As we know, there was a huge emergency response on the day. A paramedic cyclist responder, James Vernon, was struck down on his bike, but despite being run over, he rushed to help others among Doyle's 134 victims and helped to shelter children in the back of an ambulance. James and his colleague Matt Hall have been sharing their story with us.
I feared for my life. I was in a very vulnerable position. Patients could have lost their lives that day. I'm very surprised. It could have been a lot worse.
I've not been to a major incident before. It's the first one I've responded to. But looking down Water Street there, you had a damaged ambulance, you had a damaged car, but the most sort of arresting as a scene, I suppose, you had people lying on their backs. At that point, injuries are yet to be determined, life status yet to be determined. From an outside point of view, it would have looked like carnage. I understand why that description has been sort of attached to that scene, yeah.
I've cut down a couple of the side roads and used my bike as a bit of a shield to get across the direction of the footfall. All of a sudden, I was struck with almighty force from behind, which has sent me then flying over to the right-hand side, and I've come to a stop with my hands out in front of me in the gutter on Water Street itself. As it struck the ambulance, I describe it as it's like it's ricocheted off. So with that force, it's bounced and deflected into the middle of Water Street then.
The more severely injured patients had been struck directly by the car, so they had injuries consistent with blunt force trauma, chest wall injuries, which fractured ribs, sternum, and consequently difficulty breathing, abdominal pain. I think probably some long bone fractures as well.
There was patients lying on the floor, there was push chairs on their sides, scarves on the floor, empty beer bottles, there was piercing screams and people running in any direction you can imagine. There was a number of people with young children, and I've just invited them into the back of the ambulance because I wasn't sure what the incident was outside. I knew there was a car. I knew, the car had ran over a significant amount of people, but I didn't know what was then coming. We are highly trained clinicians. I think the uniqueness of this was being the incident.
James Vernon and Matt Hall there talking to us. You can hear more about the Paul Doyle case in a new BBC Sounds podcast. Just search for In Court, Liverpool Parade, the Paul Doyle trial on BBC Sounds. Now, police have increased security for the region's Jewish community during Hanukkah following yesterday's terrorist attack in Australia. In October, of course, it was a synagogue at Heaton Park in Manchester which made headlines around the world after it was attacked on Yom Kippur. Phil Cunliffe has been there today, where he met a relative of one of the Bondi Beach victims.
This is Rabbi Eli Slanger with his family. And here he is on Bondi Beach in Sydney in 2019, celebrating Hanukkah. This Sunday at the same Jewish festival at Bondi, the rabbi was murdered, one of 15 victims of a shooting by Islamic terrorists.
Well, his great-uncle is my great-uncle. My great-uncle, Reverend Leslie Olsberg, served in this synagogue as a minister for over 30 years.
This is the rabbi's cousin, Rabbi Shmuley Brown, and the synagogue is the one in Manchester, attacked 10 weeks ago, which left 2 congregants dead.
I heard that there was a terrorist attack in Sydney. My first reaction was reach out to the one and only cousin, Rabbi Eli, and I asked him, is everything okay? Thinking of you, thinking of the community, and of course, no response.
And at what point did you hear that tragically he'd been killed?
It was less than an hour later, after I'd posted on my social media network platforms, please pray for him, and mentioned his Jewish name and his mother's Jewish name, as is customary in Judaism to pray. I found out then that unfortunately he didn't make it. Phenomenal person, so charismatic. He personified kindness and helping every single person he encountered. For me, being together with him was always beautiful because he's just a loving character that wanted to see the good in everyone.
The murders in Australia have sparked outrage and shock around the world. But at this event in Manchester last night to mark the start of Hanukkah, the Festival of Light, Jewish leaders urged people not to be fearful.
We stand here tonight because we are not cowed and we will not be discouraged, but rather we will strengthen ourselves. Be not afraid.
Rabbi Brown ministers to Jewish students at universities in Liverpool. He says some have experienced anti-Semitism on campus.
It's definitely on the increase and students are suffering from it. But our response has been way stronger. We're prouder Jews. We've become very, very united.
We understand here how they're feeling over in Australia, and we send our, sincere condolences. And I don't see it as a shock, unfortunately.
At Heaton Park Synagogue, flowers and sympathy cards are still arriving every day. The overall message, though, is to stay positive and to repay evil with kindness.
When you encounter so much darkness, you can't combat it with darkness. How do you combat darkness? With light.
Phil Cunliffe, BBC North West Tonight, Manchester.
All right, here are some of the other stories making headlines in the northwest tonight. And some roads were impassable in parts of Cumbria earlier due to flooding from the heavy rain overnight and during the day. A number of trains north of Preston were cancelled or delayed, and people are still being urged not to travel through Cumbria unless absolutely necessary. The weather also had an impact on operations at Manchester Airport, where dozens of flights were delayed. The poor weather affected visibility and a runway was closed for emergency repairs to a taxiway, but passengers should still travel to the airport as planned. And Isle of Man airport bosses have apologised after passengers were unable to get off their flight due to strong winds and were returned to Liverpool. Although the plane landed as scheduled yesterday, it was deemed too unsafe to use the airport steps. People were left waiting on board for more than an hour before being sent back. Just inspecting the foliage in the studio. It looks like we've moved to a garden centre, doesn't it? We're going to talk about this guy, of course. Salford's King of the Jungle was back in more familiar surroundings at the weekend. Just days after winning the TV show I'm a Celebrity, YouTuber Angry Ginge returned to the touchline to manage his under-18s team, Winton United, at the Ginge Power Stadium. But after seeing his fame rocket, many in the crowd had actually just turned up to see him, as Molly Brewer found out.
And the new King of the Jungle is... Ginge!
Yes! The moment Angry Ginge was launched into superstardom.
All hail King Ginge!
And on Saturday, the King returned to his castle. He certainly put himself out of his comfort zone in the jungle. But now he's back to where he's most comfortable, on the touchline.
Back up there then. Ball. Boys, you're 15 minutes in, you've not switched to play once.
People love you here. How is it to be back?
Amazing, if I'm honest with you. I've missed it. I missed the football, watching it, being the coach here at Winton United, Winton Wanderers. So I'm honestly, I can't put into words how good it is to be back. And then thank God we won today, because that would have ruined my weekend, honestly.
He said humble and down to earth, so he just has the proper chats with everyone.
I'm proper proud of him because he's came from nothing and he built himself up. He just supported Manchester for it and just congratulate Manchester and everything he done it for Manchester.
I'll always live my life by the saying never forget where you came from. So to do it for not only Manchester but everyone that's supported me along the way is amazing. And I'll be honest, I kind of before going into it knew my kind of presence online, but then since I got back, seeing the love and people recording their reactions and people getting emotional when I won, it was like wow.
Ginge, I hope you like your present.
Don't you worry, mate.
I gave him rice and beans just to take the mick out of him.
Yeah, he gave me a cup of rice and beans, so I was definitely not using the cup, let me tell you that.
Usually the people coming over to Ginge for pictures, they're like younger people, but now the older generation are getting obsessed with him. I've seen a few mums. My mum's made me bring a ginger cake with toffee sauce for him to give to him after it. She's baked it for him, so yeah.
And talking of food,
He's come from eating bugs and sheep's anus to having one of the best pies in the league, well, the best pies in the league, fit for the king of the jungle, fit for the king of Daisy Hill as well. Sometimes he has the old peas and the gravy as well.
Colin says he has a pie waiting for you.
Of course he does, doesn't surprise me.
He says meat and potato. Is that all
Yeah,
right?
meat and potato, man, meat and potato. I hope he's not put too much gravy on it this time. It was flooded last time.
I mean, you can't complain. You've been having rice and beans
That's
for God
true,
knows
to be
how
fair,
long.
yeah, I'll take the gravy.
I thought you might rock up with your crown today.
I know I was planning to, but it's on the verge of dying because it's actually flowers. So, yeah, I'm trying to, it's in the fridge at the minute.
but unlike his crown, Ginge's reign will long continue. Molly Brewer, BBC Northwest Tonight.
And I've just discovered that Angry Ginge was not the only strawberry blonde at that game yesterday. You were there, were you?
Yeah, it was on Saturday afternoon, yeah. My daughter wanted to come along as well, so she had Amelia had a selfie with Angry Ginge.
Very nice.
He's a really nice guy.
Let's talk the other sport. What a difference a week makes for Liverpool and Mo Salah then.
Well, a difference a week makes generally, Roger, but especially in this case. Last Monday, we were talking about Salah's omission from the Liverpool squad after his outburst against the manager, Arne Slot. Today, that looks to be all in the past. After that tiff was seemingly resolved after a swift recall to the Liverpool squad in Saturday's 2-0 win over Brighton. Salah got a good reception as he was substituted on at Anfield before his corner provided the assist for Hugo Ekitike's second goal there. City 2 points off top. Everton dropped to 9th after their 31-year winless run continued at Chelsea, where they lost 2-0, but Burnley's season goes from back.
The big issue is not winning. If I'm winning, everything will be fine. The problem is that me as a manager, I'm not doing good enough. And that is a fact also, and I can accept that. So that is the only problem for them, is that Manchester United is not winning and is not in the position that's supposed to be.
Yeah, you still get criticism from former players and pundits. Now United kick off at Old Trafford at 8 o'clock. Well, it was a mixed bag of results for our EFL teams over the weekend. I can't think of much more technical term than that, though Preston, Bolton and Salford in particular will be feeling cheery as we start a new week. In the Championship, Preston North End are up to third after Daniel Jebison's goal gave them a 2-1 win at Oxford. The on-loan Bournemouth striker had also scored an equaliser against leaders Coventry in midweek.
It's a difficult place to come. You know what you're going to be up against. Balls in your box, set pieces, long throws. But, yeah, delighted with the result. Performance we know can be better.
But it was another frustrating day for fifth bottom Blackburn Rovers, who were ahead but ended up losing 2-1 at fellow strugglers Portsmouth. In League One, Thierry Gale's excellent finish sealed a 2-1 win for fourth place Bolton over Exeter. Stockport County are down to sixth after a 3-1 defeat at home to promotion rival Stevenage. Wigan Athletic have now drawn 4 of their last 6 games, Rafael Borges Rodriguez making it 1-1 at Huddersfield, while Ashley Fletcher scored a late equaliser as Blackpool came from behind to draw 2-2 with Lincoln.
Salford's League Two promotion push continued in a thriller against Colchester, where Luke Garbutt's injury time winner made it 4-3. Max Sanders scored twice in Crewe's 4-1 win at Tranmere that leaves the Alex a point off the playoff places, while Fleetwood beat Newport 2-0. Finlay Potter on target there.
It's been a hard 2 weeks. 5 games, 3 wins, a draw and only 1 defeat against probably the best team in the league. I think it's been a great 2 weeks for them, a solid 2 weeks, and well done to the whole squad.
Barrow's interim manager Neil MacDonald saw his team come back from 2-0 down to draw at Gillingham. Elsewhere, Michael Mellon scored for Oldham Athletic, who drew 2-2 at Crawley, while Accrington Stanley's brilliant recent run ended with a 1-0 home defeat to Bromley.
I think we've just seen about 1,000 goals there, and there's more to come in the Women's Super League. Everton lost, Manchester United and Liverpool both had action-packed draws, but Manchester City thrashed Aston Villa 6-1 to go 6 points clear at the top of the table. Khadija Shaw scored 4, which also meant that she passed the 100-goal mark for City. What an achievement. Now, Sale Sharks haven't had the strongest of starts to the season, not helped by injury problems of late, but they got an impressive and important bonus point win at the French side Clermont in the European Champions Cup at the weekend, winning by 35 points to 14. Alex Wills there rounding off the scoring. The Sharks are at Northampton in the Prem on Saturday. Finally from me, some darts, which we'll talk about much more, of course, over the next few weeks as the PDC World Championships continue. Last night, Liverpool's Stephen Bunting, the world number 4, beat Sebastian Bielecki of Poland in his first round tie, but it was nervy, and in the end, Bunting needed a final set tie-break to win. Later, he admitted he was lucky to get away with it. He'll now play Nitin Kumar, who's become the first Indian to win a match on the Alexandra Palace stage. How about that? So Bunting, a.k.a. The Bullet, is through. The first round fixtures continue throughout the week. It's a long old tournament. And what's this on the sofa beside you, Roger?
It's Kay. And a couple of people, we're going to get you a shot of this. Steve and Kath have emailed to say, where's our Christmas tree? You can't actually see it in that shot.
I know.
But it's actually
right next to me.
I don't know why we've not shown the tree. Right, at the end of the weather, we will see the tree. But in the meantime, Ian, thank you. Oh, there you go. You can see the tree now.
Oh, there you go. Gorgeous. That's why I've come dressed accordingly.
Well, and David and Joy say they love your twinkly skirt. There's a reason you're here, because all this year, as you may well know, Kay has been combining her weather duties with a series called 25 and 25, visiting some of the special and people and places in the Northwest that you said we should visit. And we'll look back at the series on Thursday. But first, who's your final subject?
Oh, I've been to meet the most inspirational woman, Roger, an absolute joy, whose life was turned upside down after they discovered a brain tumour. But she is not letting that get in the way from one day dancing again.
Do you want a coffee?
Oh, I'd love a coffee.
After emergency appendicitis surgery, Charlotte, an ex-professional dancer, noticed her leg muscle wasn't quite how it should be. An MRI scan revealed a brain tumour.
I just kind of cried for a couple of days, pretty much constantly, and then there was one nurse who came in and comforted me, and she said, right, you just need to pull your positive pants on, and that has stuck. My Dance Fit ladies on my last session, without me knowing, they had all gathered big knickers and they'd all put like positive quotes on the big knickers, and I was greeted for this last final class with them all having lots of sparkly and different kinds of knickers on.
Post-surgery, she experienced multiple seizures, which had devastating consequences.
I woke up to the paramedics and then got to hospital and had 2 significant seizures after that. My leg didn't move at all for 5 weeks. I'm definitely not back to my normal, but I'm walking. I've had 33 sessions of radiotherapy, and I've got through this. And then I've got chemotherapy starting in January, which they've said it might be up to a year.
And I know you are clearly open to sharing your story. Mm-hmm. Why is that important to you?
There are hundreds of types of brain tumours, and I just wanted to kind of make people aware of that and what people go through. And also at the same time, I've also been having messages from other people around the UK who have been saying, "Oh, this is brilliant. You've made. I'm going into radiotherapy next week, and that's really great. That does it hurt? Does it that kind of thing?" And I've been able to answer the questions.
Since her diagnosis, Charlotte has had to look at life in a very different way.
It puts everything in life into perspective. Your family, your friends, just every day, like going for a walk, just breathing in the air and just nature all around you and stuff like that. I think it's made me appreciate so much about life.
She was so inspirational, and Charlotte has said if you want to reach out to her, then do get in touch with us here and we can connect you. So huge thanks to Charlotte. Now then, onto the weather. It's been quite poor, hasn't it? Not a great start to the week. Scenes like this right across the northwest, and in Chorley you could barely see in front of you, but there is good news in the forecast. Thank you for sending those photos through. You can always follow me on socials or become a BBC weather watcher. Let me know what it's like in your part of the world. We still do have a warning, although the heaviest of the rain has cleared. It's valid until midnight, but it continues to sink down to the southeast. So high pressure starts to build in a weak ridge, because if we look to the west, this is heading our way for Wednesday. So let's make the most of tomorrow, where it will be dry and fine. So the rain continues to clear down. A few showers behind it, skies start to clear, the winds will be light. Now that's going to allow for some patches of mist and fog to form, and for temperatures to drop down to between about 4 and 7 degrees, cooler in more rural spots, a patchy frost possible. Mist and fog clears in the morning, and then we're looking at a much better day. Lighter winds, a lot of sunshine on offer, the odd rogue shower, I think, perhaps with the Isle of Man and Cumbria, but few and far between. For most of us, it stays dry, but it will be chilly. 8 or 9 degrees with a gentle west to northwesterly breeze. Now, we're still ever so slightly milder than average, and temperatures will pick up for Wednesday as we pull back in a southwesterly, and we're going to flip-flop between OK days and not so good days. One of those will be Wednesday, when it'll be a cloudy start. We'll get the first band of rain pushing in, some heavy downpours. Further rain as we head Wednesday evening, overnight to Thursday. That will be quite torrential. The winds will be gusting up to 40 miles per hour and a high of 11 degrees. That's
you got a bit carried away. There were loads of places on the map at times.
I keep forgetting. I decided it's last week before Christmas for me, so I'm just going to put everyone on there. Don't shout at me.
Thank you for watching. Have a great evening. Good night.